Greetings, YouTube. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that. What I'm doing today is I'm slicing some steaks, and I wanted to talk to you about maybe some money savings on steaks, like for the grill or the skillet. And what I have here, if you look at the package, this is USDA Choice Black Angus. This is if you look at the tag over here on this box, it's I bought this at Sam's Club. They call it a chuck roll. It's basically the chuck off of the beef steer. This one's 70 pounds, and I gave 200 bucks for it. $2.86 a pound. What I want to show you is how to maybe save some money on your grocery bill. This is what I do for my family. And ribeyes and T-bones right now, those of you that know have been to the store recently, they're running $9, $10 a pound. That's pretty expensive, you know, to have steak for your family. So I got this here, and I'm just gonna slice myself some steaks off of it. And I do it in a pan because there's gonna be a lot of blood in here and probably some water. And there's 3 of these in that box for 200 bucks. And basically that's what one of them looks like. If I'm not mistaken, the chuck is off of the front shoulder. Some of you out there, like my father-in-law, can correct me if that's wrong, but I think it's off of the front shoulder of the steer. And then I'm gonna, I just pour this blood out. And basically I'm gonna make some sausage out of this, some ring bologna, and some summer sausage later. But first I'm going to take and slice some of the best steaks off of it. And all I have here is a couple of knives. These are $5 knives that I bought at Sam's Club. They have $100 knives, and if you have that, that's great. You can use what you have. I'm not going to slice any of the fat off of it because in my opinion you can't really hardly get too much fat on a steak. But if you prefer yours more lean, then you can trim some of this fat off. That's fine. If you're going to make sausage with any of it, you're going to need all the fat you can get, and probably then some. Usually my trouble with that is not enough fat. So the steaks, the good steaks, and it's not hard. Anybody can do this. If you've ever ate a steak, you know what one looks like. So I'm just going to open this guy up and see what he looks like inside. Now if you wanted to, you could slice this entire thing, and I'm just going to use a knife because that's what I have. And I'm basically going to cut this thing until I see a steak that I like. Now, like I said, if you want, you could make this whole thing into steaks. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to slice about 10 of the best steaks off of it, and then I'm going to chunk the rest up. And I'll probably show you that a little bit later on. I'm going to mix it with some pork, and I'm going to make me some ring bologna and some summer sausage out of it. But see, now this one's pretty lean actually. The last one, the one I done just a few minutes ago, had more fat in it than that one. But basically you can see what that looks like, and I'm just going to try to stay as straight as possible as I can. And I'm going to try to keep it the same thickness all the way through. About 3/4 of an inch is probably, in my opinion, the perfect thickness of steak because it cooks the best. If you want a thicker steak, then you slice a thicker steak. Or if you want them thinner, you can slice them thinner, like to make a steak sandwich out of. And it looks something like that. And then you can see I got this edge a little bit too thick. I'm just going to cut this part off of there, and I'm going to trim that up. And I'll chunk this up like that, which will go in the grinder to make my summer sausage out of. Now that's actually a little bit thicker than I would like. And it's also bigger. That will cook, but I'm just going to take and cut this in two and make myself 2 steaks, and then I'm going to go right back over here and slice me another one. And these are not ribeyes, folks. They're not T-bones, but they're also not $10 a pound. This is $2.86 a pound, and it's all, there's no waste on it. For example, a T-bone is going to cost you about $10, $11 a pound right now, and probably 1/4 of that is the weight of that big old bone in there. Okay, so, and these are not perfect by any means, but I'm going to tell you what, they will fit on the grill or in the pan. Some of this stringy stuff, like I said, I don't really trim any of the fat off of it, but the sinew, if there's any of that, you know, maybe I would. So that's a pretty good little steak for $2.86 a pound. And I tell you what, you marinate that and throw it on the grill, and I believe me, that's good eating right there. Now on this, see, I'm just going to kind of shape this up a little bit. If you use these for making sausage, then you can trim them however you want. If you don't make sausage, also what you can do with stuff like this is you can chunk it up and make stew meat out of it. You can run, if you have a grinder, you can run it through your grinder, and then you know what you have? Hamburger, probably 95% lean hamburger. If you would make hamburger out of it, you would probably need to add a little bit of fat to it, because it'll be hard to, that's so lean that you would probably have a hard time making a patty out of it. What some people don't understand is the hamburger at the store, they actually add a lot of fat to it, and they also dye it. They put a lot of food red dye in it, so it looks more lean than it really is. See, I'm just cutting that off of there because, not because it's fat, because it can be kind of stringy and so forth. So you can choose the steaks that you want and just try to keep them as straight as possible. And then we'll just wrap these up in butcher paper. See, now in my opinion, that's just as good as any steak. Believe me, that'll go with a baked potato and an ear of corn real good. So I'm gonna go to this piece and see. I might see that. That's a very lean steak. That's actually more lean than what I would prefer it to be. But 3 of these come in a box for $200. Like I said, you got about $3 a pound. This stack here is a steak dinner for my family for about $7, $8. And you're not going to, you're sure not going to go to the Outback for that. So then, again, I keep getting it a little bit thick on this edge, so I'm just going to cut that off, and I'm just going to use this part that sliced. Got myself 2 steaks there. I'll go ahead and add them to that, and That looks like a meal for about 4 people. If you have more in your family or less, then you can adjust your packages accordingly. A little bit too thick there. Some of you might have a saw, a meat saw. You can do the same thing on a bandsaw, on a meat bandsaw, but probably would help if they were a little bit colder. I could have actually put them in the freezer for a little while, and it makes it a little bit more firm. Okay, I think I'm just going to go ahead and try to get about one more package and call it good. I'm just going to take 3 packages out of this particular one, and then I'll use the rest. Okay, and then the rest of this, now this is boneless. Your chuck roll is as far as I know, they're always boneless. I've never seen one with the bone in it, but there shouldn't be any bones in it. You always want to kind of check through it as you're cutting it up, because believe me, there's something you don't want, and that's a little tiny piece of bone in a summer sausage. That's going to ruin your whole day. But and on this, like I said, I prefer to leave all the fat in it. However, some of it that's more stringy gets it can get, when you run it through there, it'll wrap around the shaft and it'll start to plug the grinder up. So other than that, you want the fat, but some of the stringy sinew, you want to try to get rid of it. And then if it does start to clog up your grinder, which it will, then you'll just have to stop and take it apart and get that out of there. And then with this beef, I can't remember. I'm going to check my ratio. I have to check my notes. I think I use about a 60-40 ratio of beef and pork on a summer sausage and ring bologna. It might be a little bit more beef in the ring bologna. But basically I'm going to mix all this together, and I'm going to cut up some. On the pork, I use pork butts, Boston butts, and there definitely is bones in them. I bought some of them also at Sam's Club the other day for $1.35 per pound. And I also make breakfast sausage out of them. Probably talk to you more about that when we get to that part. But really, I just wanted to show you how I'm chunking this up. And then also slice yourself some steaks out of there if you like a good steak, but you don't really want to spend $30 or $40 to cook a meal for your family. Then this is an option. And they're good. I mean, they taste really good. There's not, some, if they're uneducated, might not even know the difference of a chuck steak, that chuck steak and a ribeye. At the store, a lot of times you'll see in the meat counter, they'll call it a charcoal steak, and this is basically what a charcoal steak is. If you ever bought that, it's a chuck steak, and most of them aren't as good as the ones you'll slice yourself. And like I said, you can do all kinds of things with it. You can make stew meat out of it. You can make beef jerky out of it. There's plenty of videos on YouTube of people making beef jerky. But I'm just going to finish slicing this up, and I'm just going to chunk the rest of this up. I don't really want any more steaks out of it. The last one that I done, there was more steaks in it that I liked. And I still have another one in the freezer that maybe I'll get some more steaks off of. But there'll be more videos to come on summer sausage, ring bologna, etc. So I guess that's it for now.